Alright guys, today's topic is on CrossFit gear. I know a lot of you out there use a lot of different things to try and help you with your CrossFit journey. I know sometimes your back can be hurting, your squat can be hurting, your knees, your wrists, whatever it is, we're all going to have ailments, but I want to go over a couple of things that we as athletes use a lot. Your coaches use these often. These are the useful things, and then pretty much everything else outside of this is not useful. So if you're wearing 2 pairs of knee sleeves, or you have 6 pairs of lifters, you don't need that, right? It's not helping you. So first thing is a belt, right? I like to just have a thin belt, especially if you're going to do a max out. I wouldn't use this for like regular workouts. I would like to use my core for a regular workout, but the belt works really well for holding your midline stable, especially when you're lifting heavy weight off the ground or you're back squatting, something like that. This is very useful. It's not a safety net, okay? I don't want you to be using this just so that you can get by in the workout, or using this every time that you lift, because the reality is that your body should be able to withstand all the weight that you're lifting, right? So I should be able to take this away from you and your core not fall apart, right? We should be solid through the midsection. This is just supposed to help us, give us confidence when we start moving heavier weights, all right? So the belt is one of them. Lifters, right? These are always useful. Good for setting up in a good heel position, good for driving out of the heels. This solid sole of the shoe helps you have a firm platform to squat on, deadlift, any kind of Olympic lift. These are useful, but it's okay if you don't have them. You don't have to have these in order to get a good Olympic lift in. It's good for you to train with them, and then you'll know the difference, what it's like working out without them versus working out with them, all right? The other thing is grips. I know a lot of you guys tear your hands. These are not mine, but I wish they were. But a lot of you guys tear your hands, but these are useful just so that you can keep your hands on a daily basis staying fresh, staying so that they don't tear open, right? They still could tear. Your hands still could rip. That's part of the process. I know a lot of you are like trying to escape the fact that you've never torn before. It will happen, whether I have to heat up the bar to 190 degrees or not. Your hands will tear. So remember that these are a good, useful tool for training, but remember that it does make it harder to grab the bar. It does make it harder to stay on the bar because it is a thicker piece in the middle of your hand. So even though you want to use the grips, you're still going to create a harder grip in the long term, because you're actually putting something between the bar and your hand, which is an uncontrolled thing. So remember that these are good for training. I would not use these if you're competing, or if you want to use these if you're trying to go as fast as you possibly can in a workout. I would skip these. And remember too, if you're doing 15 pull-ups or 20 pull-ups, you're not going to need these, right? You can do these when you have 100. Do this with Murph, do this with something else like that. That's a good one. Knee sleeves. Knee sleeves are awesome. They're also optional. They come in different thicknesses. I think they come in 3, 5, and 7 millimeter, which just is a fancy way of saying whether your knees are good, bad, or worse. So this thickness is, I think these are 3s, and it's just everyday use, right? You can put 3s on, you can work out with them. They're just there for support. They're also really good for lunges, right? Lunges, you don't want to slam your knee into the ground, knee contact into the floor. You got some knee sleeves, those will help with that. So these are awesome. Everyone that I know has these, and if you don't have these, I don't know you. So, and then wrist wraps, right? These are mine. This helps with any kind of overhead movement, shoulder to overhead, that kind of stuff. These are great just to have on hand, just in case you are having some ailment. The one thing that I would say with the wrist wrap is, don't wear it like a glorified bracelet, right? Everyone like puts this around their wrist, and they're just like, their wrists are just freely floating around, and it's like, oh yeah, cool, look at my wrist wraps. But that's not what these are used for, right? The wrist wrap is used to connect your wrist to your hand, so you have to wrap that midsection of the wrist that will allow you to connect your wrist to your hand. Otherwise, you're not going to have any stability. You're just going to have a cool wrap around your wrist. It's not really doing anything functional for you. So make sure that you're connecting that piece of your wrist to your hand, and tighten it down really tight before you go into it. They also make ones that have like a Velcro strap on it. Those are cool too. Those are all obviously thicker, but these are easy access to loosen and tighten in between workouts. So these are awesome as well. Everything else is just like, it just doesn't really play a huge part in when you work out, when you're training, when you're trying to do stuff to better yourself. There really isn't anything extra that I would suggest that people bring in. And it's okay to have your own jump rope and do all that kind of stuff. That's cool. But remember, you should be able to jump rope with a basic jump rope. I should be able to hand you any kind of jump rope and you can jump rope with it, right? It's the same thing with shoes. You know, shoes, lifters are specialty shoes, but whether you like Nikes or Reeboks or whatever else it is, it doesn't really matter what kind of shoe you like. As long as you feel comfortable in it and you can move, you should be able to do all this stuff barefoot anyways, right? That's the idea of wearing a minimal shoe, is you should be able to do all this stuff without shoes. So that's our whole goal. So yeah, useful stuff versus unuseful stuff. Don't overcomplicate it, and don't come in wearing all of your gear in a specific day or I will make fun of you, all right? But good luck out there, and yeah, stay classy when you wear your stuff.